All right, good. Me too. Can you still hear me?
You. Yeah, I can still hear you.
Great.
Great.
See, that's what we needed. We just needed a full reboot. Something was weird.
Full reboot. Hey, can I ask you a question? Do you think people can tell when they listen to this that you're taller than me? I feel like people can tell you're taller than me.
I don't know. I feel like anybody who's never seen us would be, I think they would be surprised by how both of us look.
I think you sound taller than me.
You think I sound taller?
Yes.
You think my like young man timbre to my baritone voice sounds taller than you.
I think you come across.
You have a deeper voice than I do.
You carry yourself as taller than me.
That's just my confidence. You know,
Verbally,
that's just me being confident, period. Yeah. I have a very confident tone in my speech. You can hear it. You can tell. I'm the kind of guy who stands legs spread out at a urinal.
Ugh.
Confident.
I don't know if that's confident.
You can tell I'm a man who cuts in line at the post office. Very confident. That's what people say. They're like, that was a lot of confidence for
to
that
cut
man.
all those old people off that need to buy their stamps.
At 4:55 too on a Friday. I will cut the line at the post office. Not only that, one of the guys who got in line before me just saw me at the urinal. And I'm spread out, man.
He's very uncomfortable.
He has no idea. Well, I mean, you know, when you do something like that, you've established. I think many a podcast before us has established this. When you do things like that, you've established that you are the alpha, and people need to follow your cues, right? How am I going to follow some guy's cues if he's not going to come out and spread it farther than I am at a urinal?
Of course.
How am I going to follow a guy's cues if he's just going to let me cut him in line at the post office? He's being nice? No, that's not what's happening there. He's a beta. He's not being nice. He's being beta.
Email in if you think Kevin sounds taller and is an alpha.
My secret power is at gmail.com. Email us. Seriously.
Please.
We've had great interactions so far.
I'm genuinely curious, though.
If I sound taller.
Yeah, I'm curious if people think that.
Throw up a vote somewhere. Put it on Magnum Opus. Is Kevin from Unpop taller than me?
The thing that I never plug, our podcast.
All of your Magnum Opus fans will be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
That's how we do it.
You're taller.
All right. 3, 2.
You are taller.
What?
Though. I should say that you are taller than
I was
me.
counting us in. I am taller than you. I've shrunk, though.
Have you?
I used to be taller. Yes. By like a whole inch.
Brag.
No, it's not a brag. I shrunk is a brag. Yeah, I'm bragging about me 10 years ago.
Yeah. Brag.
Oh, gods, I was strong then.
All right, count us in, Captain.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Unpop Podcast. I am your super tall Capitan, standing at 5'10" and a quarter inches. Kevin Miner, him, with me as always is.
Oh, you didn't give me my lines for this week.
No.
Because you script this whole podcast.
I do.
Yes. You script everything. You keep telling me it's your attempt to try out your stand-up material, and I keep telling you a podcast format isn't the same as stand-up, but
it's
you
not.
Keep insisting on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are my lines?
You say, hi.
Hi.
My name is
Odie
Matthews.
Odie Matthews.
Cooking up content.
I'm
the chef.
the chef.
They, them.
With liberty and justice for all. They, them.
If I wrote a script for this podcast, I think it would be worse. I think every episode would just devolve into me not knowing how to respond to you fucking up the lines I wrote. Because you can't read half of my chicken scratch. I wouldn't even send it in a typed up document.
Type it.
You
mail it.
I would scribble it on paper, scan it into a computer, and send it to you and be like, here's your script. I want you to get the raw deal on this. I want you to get raw eyes on raw paper, digitally speaking.
Sometimes you do it on napkins
That
crayon.
would be great. I would do that. Yeah. Why not?
You do.
Why not put it on napkins?
Why not?
That's the classic. That's how you do all great things. You write it on napkins, and people go, "Wow, that was amazing that he put it on that napkin."
Wow.
Anyway, all right, here we go. So
here we go.
We did the intro. What?
This is the last episode of the year, Kevin. This is the last episode of the year.
We don't record this late, usually.
No, this is crazy.
Yeah, we normally, it's an early morning
It's
thing.
a first thing in the morning, high energy. I'm coming down.
Yeah.
I've been working on a massive script for Magnum Opus today.
Oh,
so...
you're working on a script. Are you going to send it to me?
A real script.
So I can read it?
Do you want to read it?
No, I meant read for it. I'm going to. What part do I get to play?
Oh, you want to play the part of Magnum Opus?
I will. That'll be great.
Okay. Yeah, you can audition.
I'll come in as Magnum Opus for a week. Could you imagine? Your comment section would blow up. They'd be like, "Get this guy out of here."
Who the fuck is this?
Who is this, and why is he screaming in my ear? We got our first official podcast email.
We did.
Yeah, I do want to comment on that. I don't have the email right up in front of me. Probably should do this in the future. Thank you, P55. I think it was like Pandor. Anyway, an email was sent to us from a longtime listener who found us from your bag channel. They didn't say longtime listener. I'm just telling them that they are.
You don't know. You're just telling them.
They could come in at episode
Alex?
15. Who knows? I don't say their real name. Wait, did they put their real name?
Yeah.
In the email? All right. Thanks,
Yeah.
Alex. Don't say their
What
full
do you mean?
name.
Don't call them out by name. How else would they know it's them?
I just had a panic attack that we were gonna give somebody's info on the internet. They're gonna call us and be like, "You ruined my life."
I didn't even give a last name. Didn't say where they were from.
The rest of your listeners are up in arms about my email.
I just said the first name of a generic person, and you're like, no.
Is that their real name?
Their first name, yeah, but that's also a very common first name.
Well, so I didn't read the email, obviously, but I did enough to respond. They said to us that they found us from your bag channel. Thank you, Alex.
Oh, yeah.
If that is your
real name. Is it Alex?
If that is your real name. I
could be wrong.
Anyway, they found us from your email, and they emailed us the first official podcast email ever about Odie's mic.
Yeah.
And they said that they could not hear you, and that because of that, it also sounded like I was screaming in their ear. And we have this conversation all the time. And here's how I thought this was going to play out. I was going to come to you and say, "Hey, we got an email. It was about your mic. I think it's funny, but let's try to solve this issue." And then I thought you were going to do the same thing that we always do, where you're like, "I don't know what it is because it's totally fine from my YouTube." And then I would be like, "Well, I don't know what it is either. Let's sit down and try to figure it out before we record again." But instead, you were like, "Oh, no, I know exactly what I've done wrong now." But when I texted you before this email, I was like, "You're quiet again for some reason." Nothing. Crickets from you. No solving, no proactive. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until we got an email. I'm thankful that we're allowing people to email us. It's supposed to be so we can podcast at their funeral, but instead they've told us to improve the audio quality, and I think we need to if we're going to podcast at a funeral.
Well,
I don't want it to sound like you're being respectful at the funeral and I'm just yelling over everyone's weeping. Well, I don't want that. That's not the look I'm going for.
Maybe I do everything as an act of defiance against you, Kevin. So
why? What have I done?
I don't know. Not enough therapy, maybe.
Am I cursed?
Yeah, you're cursed. That's what it is.
Wait, I haven't done enough therapy, or you haven't done enough therapy?
We haven't done enough therapy together. We need to go to couples therapy.
No.
We're going to couples therapy.
I can't tell you. Okay. Before we get into this podcast, I can't tell you how many.
We're nowhere near the topic of this week.
I have said multiple times this week to different people, the results of your therapy are only as good as the professionality and objective behavior of your therapist. And I saw the lights in their eyes go on in a way where I think they realized that they were paying someone to treat them as a friend. Like, And one of them did admit to that. One of the people that I spoke to, because this has come up a lot. A lot of people are going to therapy, right? And that's a good thing, right? Let's just blanket statement. It's probably a good thing to talk your feelings out with somebody who's not your, in your family or whatever, so that you're not like cursing at people, whatever else. But like also like sometimes maybe like curse at people and let them know that you're frustrated and like work through that together. No, seriously, like that's
sometimes maybe drop that F-bomb.
Sometimes maybe like yell at each other and work through some shit, and like you go through the whole roller coaster of like being mad and like solving a problem together, and that actually makes you stronger instead of being like, you know what, I'm gonna go talk to my therapist about this and we're gonna come back in 4 days and not really remember what this fight was about. But I think some people are getting over-therapized. I think that we're overshining a light on therapy. I think people are overusing therapy speech. And I'm just, like, I've noticed that pattern as someone who is completely broken and mentally chaotic and just an absolute nail bomb in the world of emotions and opinions. But I did want, like, people keep recommending therapy to people casually as if it was like an easy thing. And then BetterHelp is like, hey, we've made therapy an app for you. And I think, once again, therapy, good concept, right? Do I think all of the execution of therapy is good? No. There's no way.
Yeah.
Accounting for the statistical reality of human behavior and misbehavior, it's impossible for it all to be good. It's impossible. We literally have to account for human error everywhere. That's the biggest thing we have to account for in society is human error. And I want to know if any of the movies you saw this week were a human error. Let's hit it with the topic.
Oh, there we go.
Good segue.
We got there.
Thank you.
Yeah. So funny enough, we did our recap of 2024 a little early because there were still 3 movies.
Yes.
All of which I was interested in seeing. So I saw Sonic 3.
Okay.
Which
you loved.
And yes,
okay.
I like Sonic. I like the Sonic movies.
Yeah, you love them.
I saw A Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic, and then
which you loved.
Nosferatu. It was fine.
And then Nosferatu you loved.
Yeah, I think Nosferatu would have probably cracked my top 5 this year.
Woo! All right, well, let's get into it with the 2 that I didn't bother to see. Sonic and Bob Dylan.
Sonic Dylan.
Sonic and Bob Dylan, the movie.
They team up to buddy comedy.
How does Dr. Robotnik sound playing a banjo? That's what I want to know.
Okay, so funny enough, there is a really funny Jim Carrey playing 2 different characters dancing together sequence of Sonic that is actually
it's a very
really
Bob
good.
Dylan move of him.
It's a very Bob
Dylan
move.
would do that.
Look, let me quickly summarize A Complete Unknown because I have the least to say about that.
Okay, yeah, because it was fine.
Yeah, it's another one of those. It's James Mangold, the director, who I really like. Yeah. He's done like Ford v Ferrari.
Yeah.
He did Indiana Jones, the Wolverine, Logan. I like Timothy Chalamet. I don't know enough about Bob Dylan.
We love Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, no, I do. And like Elle Fanning is in it, and
we love Elle Fanning.
Do we?
I don't know.
Okay.
You tell me, dear.
I don't know enough about her.
Me neither.
She's the younger sister.
You could have just gone with it. You could have just yes-anded here.
Both Fannings, actually.
We love the Fannings.
One of the Fannings is in Nosferatu.
We love both Fannings.
It does what all like based on a true story movies do, where it takes some of the elements, smushes them together, condenses down the timeline, makes multiple characters into one.
Cool.
As far as I can tell, I mean, it's got good reviews. It's entertaining. Performances are good.
I've heard some people saying it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if these people are nominated for like Oscars and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's not my go-to type of movie. Out of all the genres, I would put like musical biopics down like way towards the bottom for me.
What about Walk Hard?
That's different.
What do you mean? It's a musical biopic. It's about Dewey Cox.
You know what I mean. So I think it's fine. Like, you know, I wanted to start the whole see every new release early, so I committed to seeing 3. I saw 2 in one day, and then Nosferatu on Christmas.
You're a wild man.
Yeah, that was.
I would never do that.
I saw Sonic in the morning, and then I went and
that.
saw A Complete Unknown that night. So I saw Sonic at the first showing at 9. It was like 9:45 in the morning, and then my Complete Unknown showing was the last showing of the day at like 10:45.
So you
it's a
did
2.5
go
hour
home and
movie.
then go back to the theater?
And then I went home and went to go see Nosferatu at 10 the next morning on Christmas.
It's a lot of sitting.
Yeah. It was a lot of yeah, it was good. But Sonic 3
hit me.
Look, I
over under. What's it like? How much do you love it?
Okay.
How many golden rings do you give this movie?
All the golden rings. It's the best. It's the best Sonic movie out of the 3. I love Keanu Reeves as Shadow. Mm-hmm. I still personally really like Idris Elba as Knuckles. The original voice actor of Tails. I think Ben Schwartz is an incredible Sonic. I think James Marsden is really good in these movies where he plays against an animated character as like a dad figure.
Well, he better be good by now. This is like the 5th one he's been in.
He's done a lot of them after he was done being Cyclops.
I forgot he was Cyclops.
Yeah, right? Wow. Everybody forgets that because he dies in the 3rd one in like the first 5 minutes. But yeah, no, look, Sonic is good. I really like these movies. As somebody who did not grow up playing Sonic, I do not know anything about Sonic. I didn't watch anything Sonic related.
Oh, wow. We're the opposite here because I loved Sonic as a kid.
And see, like, and that's kind of, and I've seen people that are fans of Sonic like these movies too, which I think tells you a lot about how good they do telling the story.
Yeah. Well, you can't make a movie about a platform leveler game that like you're literally the whole point of the game is to like get rings and free furry animals from one of Dr. Robotnik's many contraptions. Like that's all you do, you know? Like it's fun, it's super entertaining, it's really crazy. You're kind of puzzle solving while you're doing the things. When you get better at the levels, you can speed run them. Like it's cool, right? But that's not a movie, you know?
No, I mean what they do in this one that I really like is at this point every character on Sonic's side of the fence has been really flushed out.
Okay.
And they do a really good job of allowing the new characters they introduce, like Shadow, the way they like kind of show you his backstory and like how he gets involved and his whole arc. You got Grandpa Robotnik, who ties into Shadow's like origin story.
Cool.
He's like the grandpa of
Jim
Carrey's playing both of them, which again, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Does a great job.
Does he get fat in this one?
I think he has a fat suit for both of the characters.
Well, yeah. But, it's really funny because, like, that's the actual Robotnik look, right? Like, he's super fat.
Yeah, because I think, okay, so in the second one, he supposedly dies, but he was alive the entire time. And then in this one, spoiler alert, he's definitely dead.
Oh, whoa, really?
Yeah.
He dies.
Dies.
Both of them?
Yes. If you haven't seen Sonic at this point, I mean, it's been out for over a week. It came out on the 20th.
Yeah.
So, spoilers here for
You already
Sonic.
did it. There's no you dropped it.
Yeah,
you didn't say spoilers here.
More
we
spoilers.
Just jumped right into that. You know what? It's a kid's film. I don't feel like a lot of the people listening to this podcast are kids. You're fine.
No, and I think that this is one of those that like.
Does Bob Dylan die in his movie? This is gonna get depressing.
Yeah.
No way. Really?
Yeah. Even though he's still alive in real life.
What?
But yeah, no, Sonic
That's
3, it's basically the Robotniks are going to get this giant laser and blow up Earth.
Okay.
And in the end, the laser station blows up with Robotnik on it.
Okay.
And his grandpa gets sucked out into space and explodes.
Oh, whoa. And then he blows up on the station.
Yeah,
but here's the thing about Dr. Robotnik. You would always blow up his shit in the Sonic games, and then it would turn out that he got away in some sort of egg contraption.
Well, I think Jim Carrey's kind of...
done.
He's being very... I think he said he's not retiring, but he said he's going to be picky and choosy with the roles he does going forward. And he did really enjoy playing this character. He said that doing the Sonic movies was really fun, but I think Jim Carrey's the kind of person... He didn't do a lot of sequels early on in his career. He didn't want to do a lot of sequels. And sequels are something that's very rare for Jim Carrey if you look at his filmography.
Yeah.
So I think 3 is already pushing it. I don't foresee him coming back in the 4th. Would love it if he did.
Who would be the bad guy then?
Well, so that's what I kind of wanted to really talk about. The post-credits scene
for
Sonic 3 sets up Sonic 4.
No, hold on. Spoilers. Here.
Again. Metal Sonic shows up.
Is he a bad guy?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
And then also a pink hedgehog with a hammer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got 4 hedgehogs now.
No, 3.
3. No, because you got Shadow.
Yes.
You got Sonic.
And then
you got Metal
the girl
Sonic,
one.
and then you got the girl.
Oh, if you count the Metal Sonic.
I mean, he does. He's a hedgehog.
a robot.
He's whatever. He's still a hedgehog robot. Whatever. It's cool. It's 2 creature types. Whatever.
Then you have
Play
a
some
two-tailed
Magic the
fox,
Gathering.
two-tailed fox, and then an echidna.
Yeah, weird. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Look,
you know what this is? You know what's cool though? Maybe this gets them away from the real world, and it gets them more into the Sonic land.
Yeah, and it looks good. The design for Metal Sonic looked good.
Yeah.
These are just fun movies. Like, there's not much to them. Like, it's this normal adventure. You know, like it's the typical Sonic and Shadow are fight until they're mates. They fight a little bit and then they're friends.
What's the crossover that you would want to see? Sonic universe and what?
I'm waiting for one of these movies to end with like a portal opening and it being like a Super Smash stage and like a bunch of characters that are like a lot of known characters like drop in and we get like a Super Smash movie.
Is he in Super Smash Brothers?
I think he's in the later ones.
Sonic is?
Yeah.
That's wild. They got all sorts of IP in that shit.
Oh yeah, he is in the later ones. He's in the one that I have on the Switch.
Oh, crazy.
I've only played it like twice, but he's in it.
Cool. I'm into that. I mean, that would be yeah. Well, what do we got? We got Chris Pratt Mario. Right?
Yeah.
Is that coming back? Do we know anything about that? You're the movie guy. you tell me.
I mean,
I came with
if
questions.
we don't get a Mario 2, I will be amazed given the fact that movie made like $1.14 billion.
It made so much money.
It made so much money.
It was stupid.
And it's not good.
It was wild.
I hate him as Mario.
What do you mean? Seth Rogen's amazing as Donkey Kong. We got Jack Black as Bowser. We got there's so much.
The only good part of
that
is
film.
Charlie Day as Luigi.
100%. I thought we were gonna get a Luigi's Haunted Mansion subplot, and I was very upset that we did.
Or
not.
a spin-off movie, but
that's
I don't
what
think
I want.
We won't actually get a Super Smash movie because they're doing a live-action Zelda. There's no Metroid. There's no Star Fox on the horizon. The Mario universe doesn't fit into it. I just don't think they'll ever actually do it. And also, Super Smash is about good guys fighting each other. So, how does that work?
The Metroid universe would actually probably be the most rife for any sort of cinematic.
Okay,
universe.
so hear me out about the Metroid. I've been thinking about this for a long time.
Yeah, hit me.
I love the Metroid games.
Yeah, they're great.
So you either get Fede Alvarez, who did Don't Breathe and Alien Romulus, or you get somebody like the guy that did
Dune. Denis Villeneuve.
No, you get another horror guy, Andy Machete, who did It.
Yep.
You do a Metroid horror, like gritty, grimy alien movie.
Okay.
Where Samus is like on an alien spaceship, because like the aliens in the Metroid universe are already creepy enough.
Oh yeah,
and just make it like Alien, but
they're
with
gross.
Metroid.
They got like pincers and they're all squishy and shit. Yeah.
Be so good.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. No, I like that. I think I'd like to see Sonic crossover since he's still dabbling with the real world. I think I'd like to see him in a Fast and Furious movie. He just solves all the problems for them.
Transformers.
No, Fast and Furious, because he is fast.
Yes,
and
because
he
can
furious.
fast. Yes, you're right. You're correct. That's better. That's way better.
Yeah, and then he just watching Vin Diesel have like an ego explosion because this hedgehog has shown up and is out showing him.
That would actually be incredible. I want fan fiction of that.
And stronger. Have you seen how Sonic's strong? He's blocking shit. He's blocking
give
heavy
him a chili dog and he's off.
He's kicking missiles. Vin Diesel can't do that.
Vin Diesel does do a superhero save with Michelle Rodriguez in the 6th one.
He does.
Let me recap that whole movie for you so we can build up to that moment.
Bob Dylan was okay. Sonic, you liked it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Love it. I think.
So let's talk about the big movie.
Yeah.
Lava Tarantula.
One more thing about biopics. I think that those are kind of. I love that they did this, but at the same time, we got a really good Bob Dylan biopic already, and it was an artsy. It was even more artsy. They had more people playing him. It was a really cool way to go through his life, chronicling different moments. I thought that was really fun. It was called "I'm Not There," and it was awesome.
Yes.
And then people are there's a Bob Dylan biopic coming out. I was they're re-releasing I'm Not There? What the fuck are we doing?
Well, the thing about Bob Dylan too is when I was researching the how authentic and true the movie actually is, because anytime a movie is based on a true story, the first thing I'm doing is Googling how true it was after I watch it. I guess the problem with Bob Dylan's life is a lot of his stuff is either like misconstrued or lied, or like he doesn't always tell the truth about like what's going, like his past is kind of a mystery because he's like twisted and altered it so much.
That's a trope, man. You have an unreliable narrator, and then you just have fun with the story. We do this all the time.
Well, that's what I liked about A Complete Unknown, and probably why people that like these types of movies might be calling it a masterpiece, is because it does kind of lean into, and there's a moment in the trailer when he's like, people make up their past all the time. Like, that's just how it is.
Yeah.
And,
oh, cool.
Yeah, so, like, it reminds me of when I used to fight dinosaurs when I was a kid, you know, with The Rock.
Now you're just gaslighting me.
Well, no, because that was my past.
No, this is gaslighting.
This is gaslighting.
No,
Speaking of gaslighting. 1800s Germany
did not have gaslights.
It did not, but you know what it did have? It did have a vampire.
They had a vampire. They had
that
candles.
Came on a ship.
We both saw Nosferatu, and your immediate text to me, and I would include this in any review, is this movie's very horny.
It's super horny.
To which I would respond to you, no, modern vampires aren't horny enough. That's what, but also like it's a theme of this movie. Let's go. Okay, overview of Nosferatu. It's a classic horror film. Came out in the 50s. It's regarded as being like the first quote unquote.
Came out in the 20s.
Oh, sorry, the 20s. Came out in the 20s. It's regarded as being the first quote unquote horror film, right? Like or first like vampire movie ever. People freaked the fuck out over this movie. Like people really were really scared. Like this is proper horror. Like imagine back then going to the theater. Where, like, everything else, like, there's not crazy imagination stuff all over the place for you to grab. And then you go to the theater, and you see this creepy fucking dude creeping on this other dude's wife. Like, you're just like, you would be terrified, you know? Like, yeah. So,
and the design of the original original Orlok is what really did that.
Yeah, he's, like, he looks like
a rat.
Well, now, because we have so much media, I see him and I'm like, oh, it's Despicable Me. Why is he in this movie from the 20s? What's Gru doing? Where's the minions? But
he's based off of a rat because he's a metaphor for the plague.
Yes. So then it got remade in the 90s. Am I correct on that? Are you checking me on that one? It got remade in the 90s.
Let's find out.
It was updated. It was pretty good. And now it's been remade again by none other than the director whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. Why did I not show up prepared?
It was remade, it looks like in the 70s.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
And then in the 90s, it was a TV movie.
There it is. That's the
one.
So
there it is.
Yep.
And the director you're thinking of is Robert Eggers. People would know him from The Vivitch, Lighthouse, Northman.
Yep. First off, I'm just going to say I love all of Robert Eggers' movies.
I need to watch more of his movies.
I love them. I've seen all of them. All of those big four ones. They're amazing. He's crushing it. The Vivitch is great. The Northman is absolutely phenomenal. I forgot the other one that you mentioned already.
Lighthouse is the only one I've seen.
Oh, The Lighthouse is a beautiful retelling of a Greek story. Like, I mean, it's so good. Everything that he's done, these period pieces that are just like, they're entrancing. They're very slow paced. They're slow. Sorry, they're slow paced for today, but they're intentionally.
It's very intentional.
They're intentionally paced the way that they should be. Because yeah.
Well, let me say this. One of the things I told you so this was one of the rare stances where I got to see the movie first, because for some reason lately when we talk about a movie, you've been able to see it before me.
Well, that's because I plan.
Well, because
I'm just a better planner.
Well, I'm also 2 hours behind you.
I'm a captain.
And okay, sure. You know what? I'm going to give you this one. I'm just going to give you this one. But one of the things that I really appreciated about this, as opposed to the original silent film, which obviously, like, let's put credit where credit is due. Like, the original silent film from the 20s is incredible.
It's great.
It's a masterpiece
of its day.
Exactly. What I appreciated about this one is it was able to expand upon the things that the original wasn't able to.
Yeah.
And it captures that really well through the dialogue in this movie. But I like that it expands upon characters and elements and themes that, you know, definitely would be there in the original. We just don't get to see them.
Yeah. How many sleepless nights do you give this movie?
Out of how many sleepless nights?
I don't know.
In Seattle?
5.
I give it Seattle.
Seattle?
I give it Seattle.
It's always sleepless in Seattle.
Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah, no, I think this was absolutely phenomenal. I think, like, before we get into spoilers, I think Robert Eggers does a really great job painting a world here because it's a world that feels like ours but very obviously isn't. I think Nicholas Hoult absolutely crushed it. I think Lily Rose Depp crushed it. I think Willem Dafoe absolutely crushed it. Like,
Always.
So good. I loved a lot of the sequencing. I loved just the way that they're using the camera and the backdrop and the coloring and just every single little thing that was put into this to make it something that has little nods to the history of the story, but at the same time is very much its own thing. Like you said, it's more fleshed out. Robert Eggers actually did a really good job creating a backstory more for Orlok and for Lily Rose Depp's character, Ellen. He did a really good job creating that and then not hammering you over the head with like the stuff that he added to the story, which we hate. But I'm glad that he didn't do it because like there's little bits in there you're like, oh, that's a little, I didn't know that before, So all in all, I think it was great. I think it's one of the better films of the year. This would not make my top 5. I think my top 5 is pretty impenetrable, but but it would be in my top 10 for sure. It would shuffle a couple movies backward.
I think this and Sonic 3 would change my top 10.
Top 10 or top 5?
Well, this would change my top 5.
Well, what was number 5 for you? Let's kick it out.
I don't remember.
All right, well, number 5's out. This is it's in your top 5. Where's Sonic? Number 9?
10.
10? Okay. So it's
it
like
would be
right at the top. So these are the dividers. You've got your 5 and your 10 now.
My 5
and it was
10.
2 movies that you saw around Christmas.
And if I had more time to marinate on Nosferatu, it might end up getting up there with like Dune because it is what I really loved about this movie. And I think I told you this. Lately, because I've been handed an opportunity to be back behind a cinema camera again.
Yes.
And I've been working on some what I call vignettes out here. I really appreciated the way that they use lighting in this movie. That's kind of what I've been studying on my end, being behind the camera, is like how to utilize lighting better. I really appreciate when scenes are lit in a way that feels natural. Yeah. And I think that where this movie really, really shines is it's not scary. I don't think it's really trying to be scary, but the way that it lights scenes really does a good job of placing the mood exactly where it needs to be.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. No, I really like that too. Let's do spoilers and then we can actually pour over this film.
And there's not, I mean, realistically, if you've seen the trailer, if you know what this movie's about, there's not much to spoiler.
There's so much to spoil. A lot of people haven't seen this movie. We're going to put Nosferatu spoilers here. Okay. Okay, so first off, in the very beginning, we see the backstory that was added by Robert Eggers. Like, the Lily Rose Depp is, like, calling out to the world, and she's looking for companionship. And you can see that it actually starts out like a pretty sweet thing, you know? And, like, multiple times in the movie, they do refer to him as a demon and a vampire, which I think is a good thing. I think that's kind of cool. Separates him from the rest of the vampire pack.
Yes.
But when she calls out to it, like, it slowly is kind of taking her over, and then she goes outside, and there's, like, some weird, like, grave sex scene going on. Which was, I mean, I was like, you were like, this movie's horny. I'm like, well, this movie's just kind of like what it is. She was like calling out for companionship. He's like, yeah, I got your companionship right here in the ground with me, naked now. And then you kind of see her like writhing and like convulsing. And she does that multiple times throughout this film.
Yeah.
That is phenomenal acting. Like, that's hard to do. Ask anybody to just like act like they're having a seizure. And like, you'll watch people be like, what? Like, what do you mean? And it's like, dude, just act like you're having a seizure. Like,
convincingly.
Like writhe. Can you just writhe for me? Like, I feel like Robert Eggers came in and he was like, writhe. And she was like she did it. And he was like, yes, that's perfect. I feel like she nailed it. She probably nailed it on the first try. And they were like, yes, this is why you have the part. You're going to writhe in this film. And then we fast forward to her being with Nicholas Hoult, and I'm so glad there's not backstory there. Like, we just get introduced, and
we don't need it.
We see what they're like. Yeah, because all we need to know is they're married, and this is where the story's picking up.
They're in love and horny.
Yeah, they're in love and they're
literally,
horny.
she wants him to stay in bed the moment you meet them.
Oh, yeah. She's like, why don't you not go to work today? And then he goes to work, and you meet these dudes at an office who, first off, very creepy in the financial and real estate world back in the day in Germany, as you would expect. Bunch of dudes in an office saying that you wasted a quarter hour, and then you go back and this guy's just laughing at you. That guy's... I like that they just, like, they leaned into it right away. They're like, oh, yeah, and by the way, his boss is fucking mad.
Oh, Knock?
He's
Knock is fucking
Knock
wild.
is insane. Mr. Knock he's already just laughing about everything. He's like, oh, yes, it's all been predestined. It's all very, very meant to be. It's Providence. It's Providence.
Providence.
He just keeps saying that. And you're like, wow, something's wrong with this dude. And Nicholas Hoult is that way, too. But he's like, oh, whatever. This is my boss. He's going to pay me. And then Lily Rose Depp has her first little, like, issue, right? Like, she has her first little freak out, and then he's leaving, so he's like, oh, well, I better leave my wife in the hands of my friend, right?
My rich friend.
My rich friend, who I owe money to, by the way. He's going to remind me in 2 minutes. And then, like, of course, the rich friend's like, by the way, don't worry about the money that you owe me. Like,
I don't care.
I don't care, because I'm rich.
Daddy lets me do this because he gave me a job. My daddy. He's literally like one of those.
He's one of those guys, yeah. So, like, his trust fund friend takes care of Ellen, and he goes off to go meet Count Orlok. Like, this guy's like, you have to go see Count Orlok. It can't be anybody else. It has to be you. You have to go. By the way, it's like way over on the other side of this map. It's going to take you a long time to get there.
It's a 6-week trip, apparently.
And he's like, I'll write you every day. And you know he's not going to write her every fucking day. You know he wouldn't write her every fucking day if everything went well. Like, some days are too busy for writing.
It's carpal tunnel waiting to happen.
Exactly. And some days are too busy to write your wife, okay?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's fine. Like, I might sound cold and callous, but you can't... Look, if you're traveling the German countryside, there's gonna be a couple days you're wiped. Also, where are the post office boxes? What is he doing? Carrier pigeon?
Where's the mailman?
Like, he just says, I'll write you every day, and then, like, I didn't see a single fucking mailman. I didn't see a carrier pigeon. I didn't see a mailman. I didn't see a carriage that was like, hey, do you happen to have a letter that's going somewhere? Like, nothing. Like, he was just, like, what is he doing? He's just writing and then throwing it on the side of the wall to magically, just to the winds with you and go find my love.
He's making into little paper airplanes and throwing them.
They're just landing in the mud and like. Anyway,
he's like, she'll get that.
Yeah, and then of course he gets back and she's like, you didn't write me, and it's like, yeah, how? Anyway.
How, bro?
So he goes out, and then we meet some gypsies who are, like, super superstitious, and for good reason, right? And they go out, and they're, like, murdering another vampire in his coffin, which is great.
Naked girl on a horse.
We love that. Well, first we've got the offering of the virgin on the horse, right? Like, because they're like they're down on the story. They're like, and you don't know what's going on as the viewer. I mean, unless you, Anyway, but like you're like, oh, all right, cool. They're just gonna go offer up this virgin to a vampire. Go figure. But then Nicholas Hoult sees them, and the tribe, like the whole tribe of gypsies, the next day is either gone or dead.
I think they're gone.
I think they're just gone. Yeah.
I think they're just gone.
Yeah, I agree. So they're just gone. He goes up to Orlok. So we get the best sequence of the entire film.
The carriage.
Him traveling to Orlok's, yeah.
I like that they didn't do what the original did, and it was Orlok who was the carriage, like, keeper or whatever. And this was just, like, seemingly a carriage driven by no one.
Yeah. What's great about this entire sequence is... First, you get him climbing up a mountain, which is like, all right, well, yeah, of course, he's got to go up the mountain to the place. Then he's just on a road. Like, he's made it up to a road. Not only that, there's a crossroads there, which is, like, pretty fucking wild. I'm like, who else lives on this whack-ass mountain? Why is there another road? Like, anyway, so he's going down. He's going through this crossroads. Maybe it just goes to other parts of the manor. Who knows? But, the horse carriage comes up and, like, you think it's going to run him over, and then it just slides to the side, and the door opens, and he, like, Robert Eggers
floats in.
Yeah, Robert Eggers did a really good thing having him float toward the camera. It kind of goes black a little bit, and then we cut to him driving to Orlok's castle, and then there's, like, this wonderful sequence of him just, like, he gets to the castle, then all of a sudden he's just inside the castle, and, like, it just keeps moving. It's like he's being drawn in the entire time, and I think that was the intention there.
Oh, yeah, and I think one of the things I really appreciated, going back to my lighting comment, a lot of transitions in this movie utilize going into what is a naturally dark place.
Yes.
And then pulling out of a naturally dark place into a lit place, or using it as a cut, or it pans over or pans out. Like, it utilizes the darkness really well to transition from in and out of things.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that.
Yeah, at one point it zooms into, like, Ellen's braids and, like,
Yeah.
goes dark. Yeah. No, it was really good. Like, really cool how they kept doing that. And, like, because it kept doing that, that's, like, one of the motifs, you know? So then he meets Count Orlok. Count Orlok lies to him and basically, like, begins the process of feeding on him. Like,
yeah, which
fucking wild.
Interesting that he does it a couple times to Thomas, but
Yeah.
everybody else he did it to, seemingly he drained them in one go.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. Well,
And also, mustache.
oh, yeah, okay. Oh, yeah.
And penis.
So we
mustache
get,
and penis.
We get a big reveal here. Big reveal.
Big reveal.
First off, we get Bill Skarsgård's penis.
Well,
on
a prosthetic, but yeah.
Well, Bill Skarsgård's fake Dracula penis. And then
Which, by the way, Nicholas Hoult has it at his house, framed and hanging up.
the prosthetic penis?
Yes.
That's fucking weird.
That is
Anyway,
weird.
so we got Bill Skarsgård's prosthetic Dracula penis, and then we've got, which is just a funny thing to say, and then we've probably the most surprising visual choice of this entire film is he gave a vampire a mustache.
Interesting and bold.
A famously clean-shaven species
with two
of
pointy
monster.
rat teeth.
Yeah.
Like,
all of a sudden has a mustache. And not only that,
and
he's
it
like
works.
a grubby vampire. He's very
it works
grubby.
though.
Yeah.
See, now what I appreciated about this vampire story is that Orlok very much represents a guy who clearly cannot die through ordinary means,
Yes.
but his body is still decaying and rotting and, like,
Yeah,
you know,
it's
just
gross.
it's grotesque. Like, he feels like a normal guy who just has this, like, presence that fucks people up, and also he sucks blood.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, that not to use this comparison, but because you love the Snyderverse so much,
Oh, I love it.
feels like a vampire story that's supposed to be grounded like that, you know, like more realistic in a sense.
Yeah, like dirty.
Dirty,
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah, but this
real.
does it the right way. The Snyderverse doesn't.
What do you mean? You love
if
the
it was,
Snyderverse.
If it was the Snyderverse, he'd be like, also, I'm going to sexually assault everything now. Like,
Sorry, I should have used your other example, your other favorite. It's like Rebel Moon.
no, that's the same thing. He's like, I'm
That's-
going to kill this puppy now because I'm so bad. Like, that's,
you love
that's how
Rebel
Zack
Moon.
Snyder does it. Zack Snyder's like,
Interesting.
he kicks a dog and then he strangles a lady. And you're like, oh, so, I couldn't guess from, like, their ominous presence in the music you were playing that they were the bad guys. So you had them kick a dog and strangle a lady. Got it. Thank you. Yeah. I feel like,
yeah, I like the way this vampire looks, and you only really get to see him once, really, in daylight.
also, when he first feeds on Nicholas Hoult, he's like humping him while he's feeding.
Well, that's the sexual part, dude.
Yeah,
it looks like
very
it looks like they're fucking.
I'm not saying that you're wrong in saying that it's very horny, but I'm also thinking, like, yeah, this probably is like a pleasurable thing for him. So he's
Well, I
like
don't think it's a
losing his
bad
mind.
thing.
Yeah, no,
It's
I
not a
think it's good
bad thing that this movie is horny. I actually think
After
that
Mormon vampires of Washington State, I think we need this.
well, you know,
Right?
I mean, I think that it works in this because I don't know if it's maybe like the symbolism or the metaphor or the themes, but like I just think that normally that would be weird to me to see that in a movie like this heavy, but I just think it works.
Well, it is one of the themes because her
Yeah.
character wanted companionship, and it's a little bit of a be careful what you wish for, but also kind of like an analogy for like a woman who has a horrible past relationship that just like haunts her, right? And it, like it ruins future relationships, and like in this movie, it very overtly just ruins the entire town because we move on from Orlok's place. And he goes back. She's been having freakouts while he's gone. Her friend's wife is like, no, I love her. Let's keep her. We fed her already. She'll come
Fanning.
back if we kick them out. Huh?
it was his friends are Craven and other Fanning.
Yeah. Dakota and
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. They're losing their minds. You know,
And they're both
having a
really
hard
good
time
in
with
this
her.
too.
Yeah. And then so they go back. Shit's going down. Knock gets arrested, right?
Dracula on a boat.
Yep. Dracula gets on a boat. Well, also, here's a weird thing. You know what? Let's let's just kind of, we can jump around a little bit. Fuck it. We don't have to summarize the whole thing. Why every time that they're going to the manor do they go through town by boat? Like, did you notice that? Because I was like, oh, they're going to the manor by this, but then there's like nothing at the manor that indicates that there's like a moat or anything. You know,
is it faster that way then?
Maybe that must be it. Like,
or is
it
it
must
just easier than walking? Make one person row. It must. While the other two sit there.
It must just be this is the fastest route. Like, that has to be it. Yes, you must be right. But every single time, like, it was funny to me because, like, every single time it was like, we have to go to that manor, and then they would just cut to the boat, you know? Like,
yeah.
Like, and there was no explanation about it, and I think you're right, but it was just funny for me because I'm like, why do they have to get there by boat?
Well,
don't they have horses and carriages, too?
When
like,
Nock did it made sense because he had the coffin. And I was like, oh, okay, like, this makes sense, I guess. Like, you know, discreet. No one would look in the boat.
Yeah.
But when the boys go monster hunting, I was like,
we also we also get like a little bit of the last voyage of the Demeter on this.
Well, that's what.
You know?
So, did you know that that's what that story is based off of? It's because of Bram Stoker. Yeah, I mean that's where.
Yeah, like we get a little bit of that. Like this kind of like cherry picked from like vampire history. It was like oh yeah, and then he's gonna be on a boat and he's gonna get everybody real sick.
Well, it's in the original too.
Boat. And then the boat just crashes. Yeah, well, yeah. And then
so
he goes with Nock, and this is where things kind of kick into fifth gear. Let's say fifth gear, but it's the third act or second to third act.
Shit gets real.
Yeah, I love that. As soon as they brought Willem Dafoe in, I'm like, oh, he's gonna carry the rest of this film.
Oh, he's so good. I wanted to talk about him next, anyways.
Yeah. Hit me.
No, he's just, for one, Willem Dafoe is. He's always a delight, always a treat.
Absolutely.
And I might have seen bad movies that he's in, but I don't think I've ever seen him be bad in a movie.
I'd agree.
His character in this, I really like. It seems like a newer introduction. He's a professor who believes in the dark arts and the occult, and because of that, he lost his teaching, and now he lives in Germany, and one of his former students is the town doctor.
Yes.
So they team up with Craven to like kind of figure out what's going on.
And Aaron Taylor Johnson is not about it.
No, and I like that he has this like disbelief the entire time because it's like, yeah, like to some extent you're like, you know, maybe. But then when he does figure, like when he is convinced, he's just like, no. I'm done. Yeah. I'm done. No, because his wife and his girls, you know, they succumb to the Nosferatu.
They don't succumb to Nosferatu. Nosferatu just murders them.
That's what I meant.
Yeah,
they
just
succumb
straight
to him
up.
And says that he murders them.
Well, his wife gets bit by plague rats, which is wild.
That was wild.
Yeah, that was
a lot
wild.
Of nipples in this movie
what a crazy
too.
death.
Yeah.
No, so like Willem Dafoe comes in and he and Aaron, and this is like I'm kind of picking it apart now, and I'm kind of convincing myself, yeah, it was good, but it's not like the best thing ever. But he and Aaron Taylor Johnson essentially just exist on opposite sides of the science and mythology perspective, and he's like. Willem Dafoe's like, well, why not just come to an area where like they don't believe in superstition and stuff anymore? It's the perfect area for him to exist because everyone's going to try to find a logical explanation. He defies logic, and Aaron Taylor Johnson's like, I run the docks, and I am a man of science.
And I don't care.
And fuck you, frankly. And then, then when you would think that his daughters literally being just like drained of all their blood and dropped like limp dolls in their house would convince him that this was a real thing and he would just go. But instead he just enters the deepest state of depression known to man in the Romantic era and goes and essentially kills himself with his wife.
Well, I think by the time he is convinced, it's too late.
Yeah.
Because he's clearly got the plague and he goes to their coffins and dies holding his wife.
And I really like that scene where they show the plague and him. Because there's not a lot of color. And then you get the little spatter of red talking about like Robert Eggers again, right? He like kind of just like, and it's like in the middle of his speech to his wife. He just kind of like little red on the coffin and then just keeps going. And it's really well done.
It is.
And then... You know, Willem Dafoe, Nicholas Hoult, and town doctor guy, they decide that they have to go stop this once and for all.
Okay, this leads to one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah,
and one of the biggest things that I remember reading about this movie when it was in production, and I've been excited for this a while, but Willem Dafoe did a scene with like 1,000 live rats.
Yes.
And I was like, what is going to be this scene of Willem Dafoe with 1,000 live rats?
But it's everybody in 1,000 live rats.
Well, it's
the
mainly
whole trio.
him. Well, because they're not in the frame though.
Oh, okay.
So, because they go to the castle to stop Orlok once and for all.
Yeah.
And when they get there and they open up the coffin, they immediately, do a stake stab, and it's Knock. And I love that he's just like, I was gonna be the king of rats.
Yeah.
And then he's
Yeah, he's like, he promised me I was gonna be the king of rats, but he's a liar. I found out he lies.
I found out this evil guy's a liar.
He's a horny liar, and he's going for your wife now.
And then Willem Dafoe has a canister of gas.
Yes.
And he's just monologuing this warning to Nicholas Hoult as he's burning the place down with all of these rats. And he's just laughing, and he's just having what appears to be the best fucking time ever playing this character.
Yeah, I'm with you. That's my favorite scene in the whole film. I think
so good.
We talked about it. Like, I love that he's talking about something very nonchalantly, but also passionately. And I think he's laughing because he's like, now you see, I was right the whole time. But then also he's lighting the building on fire. So, like,
a stone castle.
There's just so much for him to be doing. And meanwhile, Lily Rose Depp is across town writhing, because that's the majority of what she does in this film. Yeah. She meets up with Willem Dafoe's character, and she's like, I'm gonna sacrifice myself, and he's like, you think that would work?
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
He basically he's like, yeah, I agree with that. That works.
He was like,
yeah.
go ahead.
I'll distract your husband. We'll go.
Yeah.
So then they go.
I'll lie to him.
They go. And then I love that, like, we cut to the house on fire. Nosferatu's come in, and Lily Rose Depp is like. She's like, all right, you're here to do it. Let's do it. And then he sucks all of her blood, and they die in the sunlight.
And that's when you get to see that he skips the leg day.
He skipped leg day so hard.
For his entire life, it looks like, since he was a newborn.
I was coming the last few minutes of this film just because I knew where it was going. Like, so visually, I was like very appreciative, but at the same time, my mind was like partially checked out. I was like, what are other titles for this movie? Like 7,000-year-old barista, like, because that's what he looks like. He looks like he's gonna take your Starbucks order more than take your blood. Like, that's with the mustache. That's what does it for me. I'm like
a little bit,
and the little comb over hair. Like, they gave him just a little comb over hair.
I forgot about the hair.
I'm like, I've met this dude, and he's a recovering addict who I think that guy's doing all right for himself. Like.
I was also under the impression that maybe when the sun hit him, instead of exploding in smoke, he kind of like shrunk and shriveled. So maybe he wasn't
like
always that skinny.
Vampire,
kind of like a raisin. Yeah, raisin vampire.
Yeah, I like that, because there is that big moment, like the sun's coming over, like, what's gonna happen? Is he gonna light on fire? Is he gonna turn into is he gonna turn into ash and just float off into the wind? No, he's just dead. He's still on your wife.
And that's again going back to, like, I like that felt more in line with what this story of a vampire was telling.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying that I think it's better because he didn't turn into a puff of smoke. I'm saying I think it's better he didn't turn into a puff of smoke for this iteration of
I agree. And I don't like the whole, like, that's always been like a plot hole to me, is like vampires will just straight up light on fire, but then literally nothing else around them will. Like, it's just like like the fire mechanics of vampire blood are different from the rest of the world.
Unless you're talking about
magic
Twilight.
Fire. I don't know, whatever. But yeah,
they shine like diamonds.
Yeah, well, more as it would turn out, Mormon vampires lame. And
I like how you keep calling them Mormon vampires.
That's what they are. That's the whole thing. The Stephanie lady who wrote the books was Mormon, and that's why they didn't have sex, because she's Mormon. They do
have sex,
but they didn't until they were married, because she's Mormon.
Yeah, it's true.
That was the whole thing. That was explained to me by many a Twilight fan.
I've never finished the series.
That's the Twilight fans' version of Viggo Mortensen kicking a helmet. Like, they're like, and they don't have sex till they're married because she's Mormon. Anyway, so this movie, I think this was honestly probably one of the best art films of the year. Like, this is very much people call this genre, like they call these guys genre directors, but it's the artistic expression.
Every director directs in a genre.
I I get it. I'm not on board with the genre term. Yeah. So it's like yeah, Robert Eggers, cool. Call him a genre director, but like he's very artsy. I like the way that he approaches things. I like the angle that he uses. I think he did a great job. Casting's phenomenal. All these actors and actresses are great. Nicholas Hoult is phenomenal. He plays.
It would have been Anya Taylor-Joy too, and it was supposed to be Anya Taylor-Joy and Harry Styles.
That
originally.
sucks. No.
Well, Anya Taylor-Joy would have been awesome.
I don't want that. I like
not
this
even
one.
her.
No, I like this one. After seeing this, no. That's what I'm saying. After seeing Lily Rose Depp in this role, no. Don't want.
Yeah. I think my biggest complaint is Rose Depp in this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
She doesn't do it for me. I mean, she's good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not going to take away from her performance. I think she's good. I don't. Yeah, I don't know.
I think she absolutely crushed it. I loved it. So that's it. What's your jam this week?
Jesus, that's it? Not even gonna ask me final thoughts? Just gonna
Sure, final thoughts. We just gave a lot of thoughts.
Let's see if there's anything else about Nosferatu. Talked about all the actors, they're good. The writing was good. Cinematography is good.
Yeah.
Directors is good.
Yeah, we talked about it all. We literally just recapped the film and poured over it for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes almost. Okay,
here's one moment that I really liked that I think subverted my expectations.
Yeah.
On the boat, because we didn't talk enough about. He is on the boat. There's a sequence where he's on the boat. And
it's pretty long. It's like a good 15 minutes of the movie.
And then I like the part where the guy opens the coffin, and instead of it being Nosferatu, it's just a ton of rats.
Oh, yeah.
And then Nosferatu's behind him and just fucking chomps on him. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I mean, like, kind of, it goes into the whole thing where, like, and you see him slink in the background first. Like,
yes,
that was kind of cool.
That. You kind of saw him move.
Yeah, you see him move, and you're like, whoa, oh, creepy. But I did enjoy that they're like, oh, he's a vampire. Oh, he's a demon. Oh, he's the prince of the plague. Like, he's just, he brings all of it with him, and the only way to kill him is to let him have sex, guys. That's what you got to do.
You got to get him laid.
This ugly old barista castle vampire dude showed up, and he's got to get some, or we're all dead. And the body count, no pun intended, it's very high in the city.
Yeah. Yeah.
So many people died, and all they had to do was let this dude have sex with Lily Rose Depp.
It's a shame.
It's what a wild choice. Just the sanctity of their marriage was. This is really it's the trolley problem, right? You know, where you got the people laid down. You're like, all right, do we let Nosferatu have sex with her, or do we let half the city burn? Somebody's like, well, you know, fuck this city. So we're gonna have that.
We're very divided. We're very divided on the subject. Yeah. Anyways, okay. My jam. My jam.
Yeah.
If you will have me. We both talked about the franchise. I finished it.
Oh yeah. Is that your
so
jam?
that gets a mention. But what I want to talk about for my jam is the TV miniseries on Hulu called Interior Chinatown.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You were telling me about this.
Yeah, this is really cool. It's based off of a book,
cool.
and it does slightly differ, but essentially the plot is this guy discovers that he's a background character in a police procedural known as Black and White, and it's about him navigating and trying to make his own story to step into the spotlight. And what the show does is it does a really good job of talking about and showing and telling about how a lot of minority groups in cinema, specifically of like in Asia, specifically China, are usually typecast as somebody that just knows kung fu. They're usually like a background character or the kung fu sidekick, or they're the scapegoat or the villain. And it kind of explores these themes with other minority characters too, including mixed characters, and how they kind of like deal with the same issues but in a different way. And it's just a really cool and fun story. It goes from moments of like really, really funny to really serious to dramatic to emotional, and it's really cool to see like how living inside like a TV show, kind of like the Free Guy style, is depicted. And it's got a stat cast with Jimmy O Yang, who's a good stand-up comedic. Ronnie Chin is in it.
Yep.
Chloe Bennett from Marvel's fame. She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Just really good, honestly. A good 10 episodes. They range from like 30 to 45 minutes in length.
That's
and
cool.
It's just really fun. I really enjoyed it.
It's funny that you bring that up because one of the big controversies on the franchise is that they piss off China. Like,
oh yeah, and
that was like a huge thing. And then one of the actors is like, "I'd like to apologize for my portrayal of an Asian man in the film Sweet and Sour." So good. I was like, "Oh yeah, that tracks." Like, I love how that character on the franchise, Peter, that's the
Richard
actor.
Grant.
Yeah, Richard Grant. His like character is just like the dude who did everything offensive in Hollywood.
He's like Sean Connery kind of.
Yeah, and he's like unapologetically, he doesn't want to do acting. Like if you give him a monologue, he's like, I need 48 hours to prepare this.
I was told I was nodding.
Yeah.
I am not cowering.
Yeah, no. He's like it's a big yeah, he's so good. That character actually really kind of makes that show for me. He's so fucking funny.
I like Billy Magnuson's character, Tecto.
Oh my God! Every episode, he's just losing his mind over a comment
just
someone
losing
made.
His mind.
It's crazy. That show,
It's
the
a good
franchise
show.
is really, really good. I hope it gets renewed. Probably won't. But
I hope it does. But
probably
yeah.
won't because of streaming
Probably
wars.
won't.
But
Probably
just
won't 'cause it didn't do well.
another collateral piece of damage from the streaming wars that are going on right now. My jam this week, very unexpectedly out of left field. It was my birthday yesterday, and I decided to bunk down and chill. Actually chill. A lot of people asked me what I was doing yesterday, and my response was a very tailored, I do things 364 days a year. I'm resting today. And then I woke up today and, got a workout in, did some studying, went to fucking Muay Thai, like had a great time. Got back to my normal busy self. But I really enjoyed resting, and I just randomly threw on Star Trek Lower Decks, and I love it.
Right.
I love it. It's phenomenal. Yeah. It's very reminiscent of Final Space, which I loved.
Yes, and we've talked about Final Space.
I watched enough Star Trek as a kid that, like, some of the references are, like, there's a lot of deep cuts that I'm probably just missing, like, here, like, left and right. I'm sure there's references that I'm not getting on the show, but they're funny anyway. And then the comedy is around the fact that, like, yeah, the Starfleet command is kind of like a joke. Like they're fucking shit up all the time. And so like in the show that like every episode kind of follows the same plot arc of like something's happening, people are making decisions, they fuck it up, they have to fix everything, they slowly fix everything, but it ends up being slightly messed up or different than they thought anyway, and that's the end. Like I just got done watching an episode where they thought they were on trial and it turned out it was some guy throwing some weird themed party. Like it was great. Like I was like, this is awesome. It's really, really good. I highly recommend that show. It's got what's his name? The actor that who's Dennis Quaid's son. Jack Quaid?
Yeah, Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid.
It's got Jack
Quaid. From The Boys fame.
Yeah, it's got and he's really good in it. It's got like that cool almost like Futurama vibe to it. Like, very it's very standard comedy cartoon, but I love it.
Like I said, I've watched the first episode. Pretty good.
It's good. I love it. Even just the first scene, like you get a sense of who the characters are. She like stabs the guy in the leg with a Klingon war blade. I don't watch enough Star Wars to know what it's called. Whatever it's called, the blade. She's like, I demand honor, and then stabs him. Yeah. So that was really good. I really enjoyed that. That was it. That's all I got. That's it. I don't like recording this late.
Last sign off of the year.
Yeah, let's not do this again.
I think we should do this all the time.
No, not later. This is not good. This is not the vibe that we normally get. Normally it's like my coffee's kicking in, we're doing the thing, we're having fun, it's early in the morning. I think that's better. I think we should we should always stick to the morning. This is a morning podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what this is. What was your favorite thing this year?
I don't know.
You don't know? Yeah, because it's too fucking late, man.
Why are you asking me so many questions?
Because it's too fucking late. Like, of course you can't think of it now. I bet you could think of it if this was 9:30. You could probably think of that.
You know what my favorite thing of the year was?
What?
Signing off right now.
That's your favorite thing?
I'm on that. I'm on that, Kevin.
My favorite thing is your mic not working ever.
All right, I'm leaving. See ya.
And that's the last episode of Unpop Podcast for the year. The Unpop Podcast brought to you by your Capitan Todo Siempre, Kevin Miner, he, him. I'm here just rounding out the year with a nice little thank you message for everybody who listened, everybody who shared, everybody who interacted with us, whether you were calling Odie and I or texting us, or even if you sent us an email. I know we just recently started sharing the email. One of our goals next year is to be more interactive and to share our love of entertainment, comedy, pop culture in general with people more interactively. Fuck. Wow. You know what? I'm not quitting on this. I'm not going to re-record this. We are going to be more interactive. We are going to interact with you. We're going to reach out and touch you like the Depeche Mode song, but in like a good way that you hopefully approve of. So feel free to send emails, especially if you want us to podcast live at your funeral, to mysecretpoweris@gmail.com. Please, please, please go stop by Odie's YouTube, which is only building and getting better and getting more likes, views, subscribe, shares all the time. They've been working really, really hard on Magnum Opus, and it's a true labor of love. It's something that they're very passionate about. Obviously, Odie and I both have a passion for conversation, for arts, for entertainment, for culture, just for sharing our thoughts with each other and with other people, which is why we've invested hundreds of dollars into our own ability to do so. Yeah, thank you so much. I could not express the amount of gratitude that we have for everybody who has been a part of this podcast up to this point. Who even knew that it would go this long? We actually get emails all the time that say, looks like you've uploaded more podcasts than most people ever do. And I think that's not a comment to our willingness to just do so, but more so to the fact that we actually really do enjoy this. And one thing that we enjoy the most is communicating with each other every week, communicating with people who are enjoying the podcast every week, finding out what people do or don't like about it, and seeing how we could tweak it, make the format better. I think it goes without saying for the most part, but it is worth mentioning that we do have sort of an unspoken pledge to continue improving the podcast and our engagement, how interactive we are with people, just all the things that make this life worth living. Like, not to get too philosophical or deep, but you do and we do. It's people, it's interaction, it's love, it's passion, it's sharing. It's all these little things that are kind of just rooted in the concept of this podcast that make life worth it. So thank you. Happy New Year. See you in 2025. Who the fuck knows what that's gonna look like? Wait, maybe somebody knows. I should find somebody who knows what that looks like. Are there clairvoyants around here?